Hey guys, so today's video is going to be a bit different from my regular content, and that is because I did a sponsored video last week with Hourglass. I'm actually wearing the foundation again today. I got a few questions in that video about sponsored content, and I realized over the last year I have gotten a lot more questions about it, people just wanting to know how it works, how the whole process is, and I thought, you know what, let's just explain the whole thing in one video. I'll try to do my best. So I asked you guys on Twitter if you guys had any questions about sponsored content. I said, what questions do you have about sponsored videos / content, anything and everything. I was so surprised to see how many of you guys were interested and wanted to know more about sponsored content. I know that for myself personally, when I started my YouTube channel, I didn't get it. I didn't know how it worked. I didn't know how sponsored content was. I didn't know if people were being honest with me. I didn't know how they were supposed to disclose. I didn't know anything about it, and I wanted to know more, but I felt like nobody was saying what it was like. So if you guys are interested, that's what this video is going to be about. I'm just going to jump into it. If you guys are interested in seeing this makeup look right here, this is actually for a sponsored video. I thought it was perfect timing because I was going to do another one, and I thought, you know what, this is a perfect timing for me to just address everything and out in the open, clear it all up. Subscribe and you'll see this coming, or I will link it up here if it's already been posted. Before we get into the video, make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are interested in seeing more of me in your subscription feed. I upload new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You guys can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Anyway, let's get into the video. So this video may be all over the place. This also may be long. I don't know how this is going to go. I'm just going to start reading questions. The first question comes from Smoky Glow, and that says, if a brand sponsors you once, do you feel obligated to give them good reviews in the future as well? I can only speak for myself when it comes to this video. I don't know how other influencers do that, and that's the main thing is that you're gonna have to take away from this video, is that I'm speaking for myself and myself only. I do not know what other YouTubers or people on Instagram or influencers in general, I don't know how they handle sponsored content or just the way that they choose to run their channels. For me, I always, and I mean this with severe authenticity, I always choose my subscribers above money. Always. It's really easy to look at the dollar amount when a brand reaches out to you and be like, oh shit. It's harder to say no than it is to say yes, but part of having influence is being responsible in that influence. And so for me, absolutely not. I do not care if I've worked with a brand before. I'm not gonna lie, it is uncomfortable to work with a brand previously and then have them ask you a question or like meet with them in the future and you know that they've seen your negative review of their product. It is uncomfortable. That's the main thing for me though, is that they don't really take it personally. Like for me, there are products from brands that I work with that I literally hate so much. And that doesn't mean that you hate their company. It doesn't mean that you don't like them. It just means that stuff is gonna be good and stuff is gonna be bad for other people. And I have had brands reach out to me and be like, saw your review, and I'm like, oh, that's cool because I called your product butt shit. Fuck. But you know, it's just the way that it is. It's not every product from every brand is going to be good, and whether I've been sponsored by them or not in the past, it does not affect my future reviews. So I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here for a sec. Somebody might ask this question, but I want to make it clear now how this whole process works. This is how it works for me. So I've been on YouTube for about 6-ish years now doing this channel, and in the beginning you don't get much sponsored content. The whole of YouTube has changed since the very beginning, so it's really hard for me to compare when I say like I didn't get any sponsored deals until like 2 years ago. That's really because it's kind of the way that it worked for me then. Things are a lot different now. I see a lot of, you know, quote unquote micro influencers. I hate that term, FYI. I'm just going to use it because that's like the term a lot of people use, but you see a lot more micro influencers getting a lot more sponsored content now, and that's because brands, first of all, they're a lot less expensive, but second of all, they see the value because people have influence, and that's really the whole thing. I have a management team now that I work with who are so incredible. I can't say enough good things about my management team that I work with, and they handle all of the email and business now. But before them, I signed with them about a year ago, and before them, I was doing it all myself. And let me tell you, it fucking sucks. I am honestly so lucky to have a management team that does it for me now. Of course, the way that that works is a brand will reach out to them and they'll say, hey, we want to work with Christy on a video promoting our product, I don't know, lip product or something. This is what we are looking for. Here's our budget. here's the scope of what we're looking for. Will Christy do it? And so my management team will reach out to me. They'll do the negotiations for the price and the scope of work and the ask and everything like that. And a lot of brands want to do like a non-exclusive YouTube video. So what that means is if she likes it, then she can feature it in the video. It needs to be done within the first 3 minutes of the video. It's a 60-second mention. There's a few key talking points that she has to hit. Crystal says, when you do sponsored content, are you given a script or guideline of what you absolutely have to say and can't say? So in a way, there are guidelines of what you have to say, but they're probably not what people think they are. So a lot of times what brands will do is they will send you a list of talking points and key points that you have to get out. Every brand, at least that I work with, because I think they know what kind of a YouTuber I am, they say to say it in my own authentic voice, but they're not talking points like what you think. They don't say things like, hold up this product and say that it's the best thing you've ever used. It's not like that. It's like, say that it's cruelty-free, paraben-free, vegan, made in the USA, sold at Sephora, and how much it costs. There are key talking points that they want you to know about the product, and it's like what they would have in their own marketing campaign. The rest is all my opinion, and the thing is, for me personally, I won't even accept a brand deal or a sponsorship or anything like that if I haven't thoroughly tried the product first to know if I even like it or if it's worth talking to you guys about. And if any brand were to try to tell me what I need to say for my opinion, I've never done so. I won't say or make claims about products that I don't feel are true. When a brand reaches out and they say like, hey, we want you to do a video with this product, I always make sure that they send it to me as soon as possible so that I have as much time to play with it before even letting them know if I've confirmed with the video or not. So I don't just accept the campaign and then try out the product. I make sure to try it and then I accept the campaign. I deny a lot of sponsorships. I feel, for me, it's just if I feel like they're overloading on my page, or if I'm doing too many sponsored videos in a row, or if the product just does not align with my brand. I could make so much more money if I accepted all the sponsorships that came my way, but I don't want to do that. I want to do things that align with my channel, that I feel like you guys would actually be interested in, and that I actually like. That was Crystal, by the way, that asked that question. Hodgepodge says, have you ever regretted a sponsorship you've taken or regretted not taking one? Not that I can think of. I don't think I regret any of them, and I think the main thing to note is that, especially with me and sponsored content, I am very careful on my words when I do a sponsored video. I don't make a lot of claims because I want you guys to make your own decision based on what you see when I'm doing the video. I try the product on camera, I talk to you about it, I give you the points about the product, and I let you know where you can pick it up if you're interested. I never want to tell you to go out and buy something because it's your money and it's your opinion, and I just want you guys to see the product. And so when the brand reaches out and they say like, hey, would you like to work with us and try out this product? I try it out ahead of time, make sure that the product is quality, and then I show you guys it on camera, talk to you about the performance of the product. But you'll rarely ever see me say like, I'm in love with this, holy shit, you guys need this, because I don't know if you need it. I don't know if you're gonna love it. But what I do know is that I like it and I'm gonna show it to you guys on camera, and you guys can make your own decisions on that. That's kind of what you get with my sponsored content. If you go back and watch a lot of it, you can see how it performs on camera. I've thoroughly tested it out ahead of time. I make sure that I am not bringing you guys things that I don't feel confident in. That's that. And the main thing that I think is important to note is that with me and the way that I feel about sponsored content is that I want you to, first of all, you're gonna know that the video was sponsored. Second of all, I want you to see how it works on me, and you guys can use your own opinion and judgment on if you think that it would work for you. And second, if you wanna try it, try it. If you don't. I could not care less. I want you to be happy, and I want you to spend your money where you feel fit. The most important thing for me is my subscribers. And I've been asked that by influencers, I've been asked that by my managers, been asked that by brands. What is important to you? And I always say, you guys come first, everybody else comes second. My authenticity and integrity always come over money for me, and it's really, really important to me to always stay honest with you guys and just flat out, I don't fucking care if a brand doesn't want to work with me, if they're unhappy with me. It's just the way that it is. Like if I try your product and I don't like it, I'm not gonna work with you. I'm so sorry. Sometimes people don't have things that work for them. But that doesn't mean I hate you as a brand. I just don't feel like this product aligns with me and what I wanna show my audience. No, there's nothing I ever feel like I've regretted. Sharon says, do you approach brands or do they reach out first? Do you negotiate terms, and what does a typical sponsorship pay? Oh, okay, and then she also asked, how different is a sponsorship on YouTube versus IG? For me, I don't ever reach out to brands. My management team might, but I think we spoke about that a few months ago about outreach versus intake. And for me, I preferred them not to do any outreach. As far as negotiating terms, they do that now, but before them, I did all of that. And let me tell you, it's brutal. It sucks so bad to not know what your worth is. And for me, that was like the hardest part. I used a service online called Social Blue Book, which it's free. It's a free service and you sign up for it. And basically you input all of your social platforms and it will tell you based on your engagement and your following and things like that, like what you could basically charge. And it's pretty accurate and it's a lot higher than you would think it is. And I think that's the main thing to keep in mind, especially if you are somebody who's in the industry and you don't know what to charge and you don't have managers to figure that out for you. It can be really, really frustrating to just not know, like, what am I even supposed to be charging? But what I do know is that when I didn't have managers and I was doing it all myself, I do feel like I was being severely underpaid. And I wouldn't say taken advantage of, but if a company can pay less for the same thing, they're going to. And so I found that I was undervaluing myself. I didn't feel like I was worth what I could be charging. Like when I would check Social Blue Book, I'm like, yeah, right. No way I could be making that much money. And then when I got management team, they're like, absolutely, like that's the going rate. And I'm like, well, shit, I've been undercharging all this time. The email will come into the business email that I have now, and then my managers will do all the negotiating and figuring out rates. After they've concluded on a rate that they feel like is a reasonable one, they will come to me. They'll say, hey, do you want to do this? I'll try the product first for a few weeks, let them know if I like it. If I do, it's a go. And then the way that that works is they do all the negotiating. They do all of the behind the scenes work. I do the actual like content and filming and editing and uploading and all that, and then they work with the brand. And so anything that I have questions on or anything they have questions on, they deal with all that on the professional side, and then they take a percentage of whatever they get me, basically. So that's the way that a management team works, is it's like a commission-based thing, basically. They are incredible, and it's taken a huge load of stress off of my plate. So, because it's stressful to friggin' email about yourself, and people are like, how much do you charge? And you're like, I don't know. What does a typical sponsorship pay? So I can't say what the rate fully is, but I can say that from the beginning to now to people that I've talked to, it can range anywhere from hundreds of dollars to thousands of dollars to the tens of thousands of dollars to hundreds of thousands of dollars. I tell you, I'm not in the hundreds of thousands of dollars range, but it really just depends on what the ask is. And I think that's the main thing to note, is that you'll see like dedicated videos. So like say a company wants to reach out to me, Pink Cosmetics, and they want me to do like a full dedicated video plus an Instagram image and an Instagram story. Something like that may be far of higher of a rate, but maybe not. It really just depends on the individual YouTuber and the individual person and what they're willing to accept. Some people have really high ass rates and some people don't. And it really just depends on the post, because sometimes it really varies. I can't give like specific numbers. It's super illegal for me to do that, but I can tell you that it really varies per person. And where one person, let's say one person has 500,000 followers, they may, if they have a manager, if they don't, or based on what they have, they may charge like $2,000 for a post. Whereas somebody else may have 500,000 followers and they charge $25,000 for a post. It so varies because it's based on engagement. It's based on what that person's even willing to accept, or the amount of work and the scope of work that that person is doing. The industry drives the rate. It's really hard to say. I cannot give a number, and I obviously can't tell you what I make per video. And I'll tell you, it varies. Like sometimes it's half the amount as one video. Sometimes it's triple and you're like, what the fuck did I do to deserve this? It's just like so hard, and it's such a taboo topic to talk about. And I wish I could just sit here and be like, here are the numbers. I can't even give you figures like that because it's so personal to each individual person. And you may hear some people that are like, yeah, I make, $150,000 a post. And you're like, what? It depends on how many followers they have, because some people may have 1 million followers and they get, 800,000 views per video. And somebody else might have 1 million followers and they get 100,000 views per video. And it just really depends on the engagement and what they're willing to negotiate and what they're willing to accept, the scope of work. So it so varies. You hear numbers getting thrown around a lot. Like I heard, $60,000 for a video. And that may be somebody's rate, absolutely. But you also have to keep in mind like the amount of eyes that they're going to have on them and traditional advertising versus social media advertising. And a lot of brands are realizing that the return on investment is a lot higher when it comes to people like influencers, which is why you see so much sponsored content going around, because whereas like let's say an ad spot on a TV program, that may cost them $1 million for, you know, a 30-second ad. Whereas for a YouTuber, it may be like a 5-minute ad in a non-dedicated video and they may get like $8,000 or $10,000 or $15,000, which sounds insane. And frickin' it is insane. It's just crazy the amount of money that's thrown around in the advertising, you know, realm is when it comes to YouTube, Instagram, or any of this. It costs the brand so much less, so it's really worth it for them to, you know, work with a lot of smaller influencers, or even, you know, because I mean, imagine what it would cost to pay like Mila Kunis to talk about the CoverGirl mascara versus having me do it. You know, it's so different, and I certainly don't have a friggin' ass similar reach as Mila Kunis. Like, let's get real. But YouTubers have a crazy reach if you think about it. Like, you know, if somebody's watching a television program and it's like, oh my God, we had an average of 100,000 viewers, and then I do a YouTube video and I get 100,000 views. You know, it's just crazy different. And I'm sure that these companies realize what a difference that is. And I saw a post a few years ago saying that YouTubers or influencers or whatever have an 8 times higher selling power than like an average TV commercial, because that's the way that YouTube works. Is you watch somebody that you really like, you trust them, and then you are more likely to listen to them. It's like, for me, I use this as an example. If I'm watching a commercial and a celebrity is telling me that they like Pepsi, and they're like, Pepsi is so delicious and refreshing, it's my favorite beverage. You're like, I don't fucking believe you, Brittany. I don't believe you, because I know you're just getting paid to do this. You go on to, say it's my channel, and I'm like, bitch, Pepsi's so fucking good. I love Pepsi. It's so delicious. It's so refreshing. It's and I'm drinking Pepsi. You might be like, I really like Pepsi too right now. P.S. I like Coke. Pepsi sucks. I don't know why I use that as an example. Okay, so let's say a brand is coming to you and they're like, hey, we want to work with you, but we only have, you know, $2,000 or something like that. That may be what their budget is. So no matter what you try to negotiate, that's what they can do. And so whether you accept it or not, I don't know. And there are some people out there who accept like every sponsorship that comes their way. And then there's a lot of other people out there who are very selective on what they do. I'm one of those super selective people. Like, out of every 50 things that come my way, I feel like I pick like 1 or 2, just really dependent on how I feel. And I have everybody send me this stuff first, and if I don't like it, I'm not going to do a video on it. So that's the that on that. How different is a sponsorship on YouTube versus an Instagram sponsorship? YouTube has like talking points and things like that that they need. When a brand like does something like that and they're like, has 34 buttery matte shades that glide on effortlessly, and they want you to like say that, I'll be like, it has 34 shades. Because I don't speak that way. Generally, the way that things work on YouTube is you'll get a YouTube video, they'll ask you to film it, they give you all the guidelines of everything that needs to be done, require you to send it in for approval. And so what that means is they're gonna make sure in that approval that you've done everything that was required in the brief. So like, you showed it within the first, you know, 2 minutes of the video. You talked about it for 30 seconds or 60 seconds or whatever the thing is. You hit all the talking points, and then you have the proper links in the description. They just want to make sure that you've done everything that they require. The additional stuff of being like, I don't really like the way that this shade performs, and I would prefer this to be this shade, or things like that, that's all up to the YouTuber. They want to make sure that you've reached the talking points that they've at least outlined, so that you can get the minimum of what they needed to be in that video for the advertisement. For Instagram, generally it's going to either be an image or an Instagram video. You film it, you send it in for approval with a caption, and then they let you know if they like that caption or not. If they needed something in the caption changed, they'll add it or not. It's pretty easy. And I think the main thing is like the disclosure, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Bex says, what's the #1 brand you want to do a sponsorship for? I would love to work with Canon, because I absolutely, like, I feel like everything I have is Canon, or like Apple or something, but like, let's be real, I'm not a tech channel, so it's probably not going to happen. Hourglass was my main one that I was like, when they reached out and wanted to do that video with me, I was like, okay. I would love to work with ColourPop. I would really love to work with ColourPop. Sleep Deprived Zombie says, if you got sponsored for anything, would you give a bad product a bad review, or would you have to give a good review in order to get paid? Ah, okay. So I wouldn't even do a sponsored video on a product I didn't like. They're not going to send me the product. We're not going to agree to the sponsorship for me to get on camera and be like, this fucking sucks ass. They're not going to do that, because it's not what they're paying for. They're paying for like positive advertising. So I try the product first and then let them know if I'm going to do the video or not based on if I like it. I've said no oh, more times than I can count. That's the main thing. Like, they're not going to pay you for a negative review because that's not helping their brand in any way. So they're just going to choose somebody else that may like the product. Samantha says, if you turn down a sponsorship, would they ask again in the future or do they not offer again? So if there's a brand that I want to work with, but the timing just doesn't seem right, then I say, decline for this month, please reach out next month or the next time you have an opportunity. I would love to be considered. But a brand might reach out and they'll be like, hey, we need the video posted next week. And I'll be like, no, that's not enough time for me to try the product to even know if I'm going to like it. So if you have any campaigns or any like advertising or budget or anything like that next month, please come back to me, but I would need to try the product way ahead of time. Jennifer Mooney says, is there any brand that you would never do a sponsorship with? Oh yes. Fashion Nova being one. There's no amount of money they could ever pay me to work with them. There's literally nothing. They copy people's clothes all the time. They steal designs from smaller artists without any credit, and then they just like take the design and start selling it as their own. They have the shittiest policies of all time, and frankly, they have really shitty just business practice in general. Literally no amount of money could ever get me to work with Fashion Nova, and don't worry, it's been offered to me, and every time I'm like, please fuck off. Remember that video I did? I'll link it up here, but it was a video where I was testing out like viral makeup products and like the eyebrow pen and all that stuff. The shipping took literally months and months and months, and the customer service was crap, and I just feel like the whole experience in general for me, I found that I got the average consumer experience, and that was a total shit experience. And that's another thing to keep in mind, is that especially when you're working with companies, as a YouTuber, you may get a better experience than the consumer does because they're trying to woo you in a way, you know? And this really isn't the case for most brands, but like with Folklore, I'm sure if I had worked with them, they would have sent me the product right away. I would have been able to try it right away, and then I would be like, oh, this product, if I liked it, is so good. What does that say for the average person that's ordering? Like for me, when I ordered, and it took 3.5 months to get my stuff, and I'm like, that's the kind of thing for me where I'm like, you know what, in the future, like they've reached out a few times and I'm just like, no, I'm not going to work with you because I don't like the way that your customer service was. And that's a hard no from me. Charlotte says, are creators required to verbally state that the content is sponsored or just include hashtag sponsored or hashtag ad in the caption or video description? Great question. Requirement and law and morals are all separate things, but for me, they all fall into the same category. I will always say this video is sponsored by, because I need you to know verbally without you just having to scroll through my description box. I believe, and I'm not completely up on FTC laws for everything, but I do believe you are required to verbally disclose in the very beginning of the video that the video is sponsored. Fucking A, I see it not done all the time. Disclosure and lack of disclosure is one of my biggest pet peeves because I just feel like it's not hard. I've been doing YouTube for a long time now. It's not hard to say this video is sponsored. And you know what? Some people say, why does it matter? Why does it matter if they say it's sponsored? Because you need to know that I'm being paid to talk about this right now. Whether or not I like it, you need to know that this is a partnership with the brand, and I feel that way. I feel like the consumer has every right to know, so that's why it's really important to be a smart consumer. Read the description box, but I will tell you that there have been a few YouTubers that I've seen, and I'm not gonna call anyone out because I don't wanna be shady, I don't wanna be a shithead. There are people that I have seen that don't disclose in the description box either, and I know the videos are sponsored because I see them hitting the talking points. I see them doing the full video as like one brand clothing try on, and they hit the talking points, they have a code with the brand. And then I saw somebody in the comments being like, is this video sponsored? And they're like, yep. And it's like, you didn't say that. You didn't list it in the description. How the fuck would they know? And it's just so disingenuous, and not to mention illegal. So I just feel like we all need to get better at disclosure, both verbal and written. It needs to be both, in my opinion, and I think the FTC says that as well. The disclosure needs to be in the beginning of the video, in my opinion, and I think the FTC's opinion as well. And I think it should be very clearly stated in the description box. Same with on Instagram, hashtag ad, hashtag sponsored, something like that, or use the paid partnership tool, which I don't have on Instagram. Otherwise I would use that because I think it's so obvious. Paid partnership right at the top. I don't have that tool. I don't know why. I think we are legally obliged to say that we are sponsored in the beginning, but I do see a lot of people skip over that step and just put it in the description, which I don't know if it's legal or not, but I will never do that. You will always clearly know from me. Jamie said, why is it such a big deal that influencers are getting paid for their influence? I don't think it's a big deal necessarily, but I think there's a huge thing because some people are like, why do you give a shit if people don't say that they're sponsored? For me, it's like when you see Britney Spears saying that she loves Pepsi, you know she's being paid to say that because it's a paid commercial. You know that she's being paid to do that because she's a celebrity endorsing a product. You know Jennifer Aniston doesn't use Garnier. Like, you know, but you still don't care because she's a celebrity. You just know that that's part of the thing. But I'm not a celebrity. I'm Christy. I make videos on YouTube. You trust me. And if I'm being paid to tell you something and you don't know that I'm being paid, like you know that Jennifer Aniston's using Garnier, I'm being paid to do so in a commercial. Like if I was in a commercial for NYX or something, or CoverGirl or one of these brands, you would know I'm being paid for that commercial. You know that it's an advertisement. Billboards, you know those are an advertisement. I don't need to say hashtag sponsored, it's obvious. But a YouTube video where I'm sitting down talking to you, where 99% of them aren't sponsored, you didn't know that was an advertisement. If I didn't tell you, you wouldn't know. And I think that you have every right to know that. And I believe the FTC believes that as well. Kyrell Lara says, when doing sponsored content, do you find it hard to be your true self on camera, or do you find yourself being more professional as it is backed by a large company? I definitely find myself being more professional. It's really hard to sit on camera when you know a company is going to be approving your video and being like, yeah, fuck this, fuck that. It naturally happens in me when I know that they're watching. I just end up being more professional. It's just like if you were on the news with a news team versus you just talking to your girlfriends. You know, it's a little bit different. Like, you know that professional people are watching, so you just are more professional. Whether you like it or not, like, I can't help it. It just happens. Is it true you get more money on ad money in December, hence the reason we see so many daily vlogs? You know, all the OGs doing vlogmas. Do you really believe execs have it out for certain YouTubers? I don't know about that last part, but yeah, there is definitely more ad money in December. October, November, December are like ad money time. I have a feeling that's why so many people do vlogmas. It can't hurt to get all that ad revenue. I've heard from certain YouTubers that have done it, that they make like literally double the ad revenue in that month. I uploaded literally like an eighth of the amount of videos that I normally would because I was going through some shit. Yeah, I hear that it is higher. I do notice that it significantly drops off in January. And I think that there's just a lot more advertising happening in the holiday months because brands want to sell their shit. Melissa Ross says, have you turned down a sponsored video because you hated/didn't believe in the product only to see another influencer do the video? Did you think less of them? I don't actually think less of people because they might like it. I have very different, you know, opinions on products. Like some people love super matte foundations, and for me, I don't like them. I'm also like weirdly picky about the shit that I talk about, so I'm not surprised that other people might like the stuff that I just didn't feel like was a good alignment with me. So no, I don't think less of people as long as they disclose properly. Rye says, how do brands limit what you speak about or use? Do they set up guidelines or do you accept certain guidelines? What's the craziest thing a brand has asked you to do for a sponsored video? Nothing really crazy. I did have one company try to get me to like work out in a public space, and I was like, no. And when I mean public space, I mean like airport or like a grocery store. And I'm like, I'm not gonna go fucking work out in a grocery store. Absolutely not. I told them no. I was like, I will not do that. So you can either change the guidelines or and that was that. You never saw that because that never happened. Do brands limit what you speak about or use? If it's a non-exclusive video, non-exclusive meaning you'd only have to mention them and you can use any other brand that you want in the video, they might say no other eyeshadow palettes please featured. Like, that's perfectly acceptable. I'm featuring your product, you're paying me to do so and to talk about the product and tell my subscribers about the product. If they say things like please no other eyeshadow palettes used, I will absolutely follow that. They'll give you a list of guidelines, but again, it's your choice at that point on whether or not you want to accept those guidelines. And for me, a lot of times they're very reasonably asked. So they'll be like, please just say, you know, this list of 5 things that we want you to say. Some brands ask way too much in my opinion, and that's where I will, you know, kind of fight back and be like, look, you're literally needing me to say 85 things and wanting it to be like a 60-second mention. I can't do that. And so if you want like a full dedicated video, then we can do that. But a lot of people don't want a dedicated video. They want like a mention in a video. I don't know what that is, if maybe it feels more authentic or it just is like less expensive. I don't know how the whole thing, you know, works. I don't, you know, do that whole negotiation side, but it just really depends. And it depends on the person. Like where I'm saying all this stuff right now, somebody else might do things completely differently from me. They may accept everything that comes in their inbox. I don't give a shit, it's money. You know, some people might be just as picky as me or half as picky as me, or they may just try the product for the first time on camera. It's just so dependent on each person and what their moral values are. Samantha says, do you get paid before or after the video post? And if they don't like the video, do they withhold funds? So that comes into the approval process. So you get paid after the video, and a lot of times it's like way far after. Some brands do net 30, some do net 60, some do net 90. That means like you'll get the payment like 30 days after, you know, the post has gone up, or 60 days or 90 days after. It just really depends. Some brands pay immediately. That's pretty rare. That's what the approval process comes to. So for me, every sponsored video that I've ever done, I send in for approval, and then they let me know any edits that they want, and then I'll do like one round of edits. So if they're like, hey, you said the name of the brush wrong or something, then I can either edit that, you know, and then I re-upload it, and then they'll be like, perfect, that's good for us, that fits our guidelines. There's never a withholding of funds, because for me at least, the brand saw my post before I ever posted it, so they said yes. Charlotte says, what percentage do sponsorships contribute to your overall income, if that's okay to ask? Yeah, no, that's a great question to ask. I'm a pretty open book. If I could be more open without like legalities and stuff like that coming in, I would be so much more open about all of this. I feel like I'm being pretty good, except for like without distinct numbers, which, trust me, when I watch these videos, I get so fucking annoyed when I don't hear like solid numbers, because I'm such a number talker. I'm just really that person. I don't mind talking about that stuff. It does get uncomfortable sometimes, but I think it's important, especially if you're in the industry. But you said, what percentage do sponsorships contribute to your overall income? I'd say that they are, because I'd say they're like 60%, I would say. So they're significant. I could still certainly survive without them, but they are really nice to have. And especially if it's a product that I like, which it always is, because again, I don't talk about them if I don't, then I love to do them, because especially with you knowing it's sponsored, if you feel weird about that, you don't need to buy the product. You don't ever need to buy it anyway. It's merely just me bringing it to your attention. Here's the product, here's the price, here's where you can get it. If you like the way that it worked on me, or you like the way that it looks, go pick it up. If you don't, then don't. That's how I always like to approach everything, because I'm not telling you what to do. It's your money, you work for it, and you get to spend it however you want to. And so I think sponsored content is really negatively looked down upon a lot, but I think if you trust the person that's doing it, then that's where that's where it comes into play, because there are some people I watch their sponsored videos and I'm like, I believe you, and especially because I can see how it works on you, and I can see the struggles you're having or not having with it, and I know what I like, and I know that I like the other products you recommended to me, so I'm gonna give that one a try. And if you feel like you're watching somebody and you're like, just don't know, I just feel weird about it, go with your gut. Go with your gut. And that's the main thing I think to think about. So, because you never know. I mean, your gut instinct is going to be better than you think it is, so use that. Courtney says, before you had a management team, did any brands ever try to take advantage of you in any way? Did they ever try to withhold your payment after making the video, or do they pay you before creating it? So they don't pay you before creating it. I never had any brands try to withhold payment, but I did have some, at least before I had a management team to handle all of this, that would pay out like 7-8 months later. And that's crazy. Imagine working this week for 2 weeks, and instead of getting your payment in the next 2 weeks, which that's your pay date, you get it in 6 to 8 months. Sucks. I'll tell you that much. It sucks so bad. But that's kind of the risk you're willing to take when you're in this industry. Payments don't come frequently, like when you have a traditional job. Like I got paid every 2 weeks before. My husband got paid every Friday. Nicole says, how do you feel about influencers that don't disclose sponsored content? I hate it. And I feel like I've made that very clear on Twitter too. I'm not quiet about it because I see it directly and negatively affect the viewers and us as a whole. As a group, if you're not honest and you're not genuine about when you're getting sponsored content or you're being paid to post something, here's why it's a problem, okay? Say I got sponsored for a foundation, okay? And I go on my Instagram and I do a whole post, Instagram story, a YouTube video, all about how fucking much I love this foundation. And I never once say that I'm sponsored, but I am being paid. You just didn't know that because I'm not disclosing that to you. The audience then thinks like, oh my God, Chrissy loves this foundation so much. She's gonna wear it all. She loves it so much. I'm gonna go out and buy it. I'm telling you, like, this is the best foundation I've ever tried. This is incredible. You need this in your life. You click on it and you're like, well, it's not sponsored because she didn't say it was sponsored. She must seriously love this so much. So you go out and buy it. The foundations could be good, but it could be shit. Who knows? Meanwhile, other person is using that same foundation and they're saying, hey, this video is sponsored. And then you as the consumer might be like, fuck you, you sponsored bitch. Like, you posting sponsored content, you don't even like that foundation. Meanwhile, both were sponsored, but you have a positive look towards the person who lied about the sponsorship and a negative to the person who was honest about it. The reason to be honest is because it's fact. I'm being paid to talk to you about this right now. I like the product. But when you see somebody out there who's not telling you that they've been paid, you feel that they're being more honest with you because they're not sponsored, so why would they lie? They are sponsored. They're just not telling you. Hey guys, Editing Christy. I just wanted to make it clear when I was re-editing this part of the video, I didn't make it clear that just because somebody posts about something that they love and it seems sponsored, it doesn't mean that it is. Sometimes it is an undisclosed sponsorship. I feel like I can tell now because of how long I've been doing this for. I actually get accused sometimes, people being like, sponsored, and I'm like, no, like just because I do a full face of BH Cosmetics doesn't mean I'm sponsored by BH Cosmetics. Just because I did a full face of Hourglass doesn't mean that. So I just wanted to make it clear, I don't recommend anyone go around and be like, is this sponsored? Robbie D. Christie said, please don't do that. I don't want people getting blamed for doing undisclosed sponsorships because that's not the case for a lot of people, but just letting you know I have seen it done. Be a smart consumer, that's the only thing I can suggest. Read the description box, check the comments if people are like, hey, is this video sponsored? If the person says this video is not sponsored, I would believe them. That's why it's really hard. It's really hard to tell between one that is just a genuine love for a product and somebody that's undisclosed, and I see both. I see both. And one of the main people that I blame is the brand. I know that a lot of the responsibility, if not most of it, falls onto the influencer as well. However, because brands do require approval before posting, why aren't you making your influencers use #ad? So say that I am using this primer right here and I'm like, you guys, this is the best primer I've ever used in my entire life. You need it. Click on the link in the description. You will not be disappointed. Go pick it up right now. In the person's eyes, if they don't let you know it's sponsored, they're going to sell more of that product. The brand's going to want to work with them again, which is more money for them. They're going to get money off the code, and you guys at the same time are going to be happier with them because they're not doing sponsored content. That's such a skewed version of how that shit really goes down. If people trust you, they'll use your recommendation, and that's the really shitty part, is that I see people doing this and they do have a trusting audience and their audience is like, love you so much. And I just feel sad for people because it's your money. You worked for it. You went to work. You worked hard for that money. If you're making minimum wage, let's say, which is what I was making, and so that I know if I want to buy an $11 foundation, that's an hour of work. If I want to buy a $22 foundation, that's 2 hours of work. $50 foundation, oh my God, that's like half a day or more days worth of work that I have to do. So that's where I, as a YouTuber, that's how I recognize my influence. And I think for me, it's just, I realize that $50 may not be a lot to one person, but $50 may be so much to another. And so I'll always present you with the price and you can make that decision on whether you feel comfortable buying that or not. But I'm never gonna be like, bitch, go buy this right now. You're gonna die. This is the most amazing thing you'll ever try. Because I don't know if it's the most amazing thing you're ever gonna try. I don't know if you have the $50 extra to spare, and I just don't know how you're gonna feel about the product. So I don't wanna make a claim saying that you're gonna love it when you may not. Abby says, I would like to know more about the etiquette of communicating with brands, what you can and should ask, say, and ask for. Also how you turn down a sponsorship offer professionally. So because I work with a management team, they do all of this, but I can tell you that before working with them, I was doing all my own emails, all my own negotiating, and what I would say, the main questions that you would probably be best to ask are, if they reach out to me like, hey, we would like to work with you, blah, 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 blah. Say, you know, sounds great. I would love to try out the product. What are the deliverables? The live date of when they need it live by, the budget, and the scope of work that you're going to be doing. If you don't like the product, be like, you know, this really didn't work out well for me. If you guys have any future launches, I would absolutely love to be considered, and things like that. Because I don't do this myself, I really can't answer this question well, but I can let you know that brands will respect you if you respect them a lot of the time. And if they don't, they're not a fucking brand you want to work with anyway. Bree says, what was your first ever sponsorship? My first ever sponsored video was with a company called Wantable, and they were a monthly subscription box. They were actually, I think, every other month subscription box, and they were makeup. It was a long time ago, and I remember being so excited when a company wanted to work with me. It was so cool. Lexi says, how many sponsorship requests do you get in a day/week? Is it a ton or a few? I would say it really depends on the week. January is the slowest month of the year because every brand has already just like run out of all their budget for the last year. They're re-upping their new budget for this year and discussing all of that stuff. So January is the slowest sponsorship month generally. It gets better throughout the year. I'd say on a given every 2 weeks or every week, I maybe get 3 to 50, let's say. And that may be high, but it just really depends. And a lot of them will come in and they'll be like, hey, we'd like to trade you an eyeliner for a full dedicated review. It just really depends. It could vary from week to week. Some weeks there may be nothing. Some days there may be 20 things that come in. It just so varies. Rainey says, if a brand offers to pay for a bad review, does that have to be disclosed the same as a regular sponsored video? Well, I've never even had an offer to do a negative review. I've heard that they exist. I personally have never in my life known that to be a thing. It may be a thing with other YouTubers, but it is not a thing with me. I've never even been offered that. I don't know if, well, and there may be brands that do that, but I don't know, because brands just generally want to promote their own product, not like shit talk another one. But I've never had anything like that come through, and I don't even think my managers would probably bring that to my attention, because that's like fucking something that I would never do. I've never ever been offered money for a negative review, and certainly would never accept it. Xtina says, how strict are brands when it comes to reviewing your videos before you post them? Have they ever made you take things out of a sponsored video that you haven't wanted to? Like, are they cool with you swearing and stuff? Oh, okay, swearing. That's something that I really wanted to touch on, because people in my Hourglass video, they were like, oh, you didn't swear once in this video. And I'm like, okay, some brands will note no swearing in the video. I'd say it's like 70-30. Like 30% of brands say no swearing, 70 don't give a shit. For me, I just feel like if it's a company and they're paying me for this video and they are trying to make their product look good, like I try to not say fuck as much. Like, let's be honest, I just feel like it's a little unprofessional. It doesn't mean I'm any different. And if I sound like I'm like, Chrissy, you didn't say butt shit in this video, it's like, no, I just feel weird about it, okay? Sharon says, if you make a sponsorship deal and create content, but then the brand ghosts you after you ask for payment, would you still post the content you made, not as sponsored, considering you love the product? I wouldn't, because I don't want to promote a brand that would agree to pay for work for somebody and then ghost them afterwards. Like, fuck that. I mean, even if I love the product, I don't know, I'd feel really weird about it, especially since it was like meant to be paid content. I don't know. I personally wouldn't post it, but I think, you know, you do you, but I wouldn't give a company that would do something like that free content, like free sponsored content, basically. Kayla says, as an aspiring beauty content creator, how long did it take you to start making a living as a content creator to the point where you were able to do social media full time? Much love. That was January 2017, but I was not making enough money then. I just quit my job in hopes that I would be able to. I was making enough to just barely scrape by and add to our household, you know, income. Was about 4 years unpaid before I made any money on YouTube, and now we're at like the 6-year mark, and I'm doing well for myself now, and I'm so proud of how far I've come. I never thought this would be my life. I'm literally in awe every day that I wake up that this is what I do, I mean, I worked some hard ass jobs before this, and so to be able to do this full time and to have the support of you guys behind me is absolutely incredible. I could not say enough good things. I did it for about 4 years unpaid. I didn't even make any money on AdSense. I think for a while there on AdSense, I was making like maybe $100 a month. You have to reach like $100 a month threshold to get paid out. And it was very rare that I did reach that peak. And then I made a few videos that got me subscribers in 2017. And then 2018 was a really amazing year. And I project that 2019 will be as well. And yeah, it was a long time of working 40 hours a week at my regular job, and then also putting 20 to 30 hours a week into YouTube and social media, just trying to grow my online presence and trying to get my name out there. And it was brutal because you don't get any money and you're working fucking hard and you're like, what am I even doing this for? But it ended up all paying off, and I'm so glad I stuck with it. I always wanted this to be a full-time thing, but I never knew if it could be, and it's literally a dream come true. I can't even believe this is my life. Savannah Summers says, how many sponsors have turned you down for not agreeing to give them a positive review? Is it common for brands to require a positive review, or are most okay with honest review? I'd honestly say most are okay with an honest review. Obviously they want it to be positive, but don't know if I've ever had a brand be like, ooh, you can't be honest. I don't think I have. I just think that most people that reach out to me know how I am, and they know that I'm going to be honest. And I just think it's like a given. And I don't like shit all over the product, but I critique it where I feel it needs critique. So I haven't really had anybody reach out to me and do that, I don't think. MC says, what advice do you have for YouTubers that are just starting out that might want to do sponsorships? When do brands usually start reaching out, and what factors do you think they look for when they pick who to sponsor? I think they look at a lot of factors. I think they look at your, your reach, your engagement, your consistency, and the type of person that you are, and the type of, views that you get. I think that some brands do work with a lot of micro influencers. Some only want to work with larger. I say my advice is to keep your wits about you, know your worth, use Social Blue Book to your advantage if you can. I think it's a wonderful resource to have, especially when you don't know what to charge. Don't undervalue yourself and don't get taken advantage of. It's really exciting in the beginning to get offers from brands to want to work with you, but keep in mind that they are there for a purpose, and that purpose is to sell more product. So you need to stay true to you always. Don't say things you don't feel comfortable saying, and don't do things you feel uncomfortable doing. Only promote products that you really love and believe in. Integrity over money, always. Always. Money comes and goes, but your trust in me does not. If you guys lose your trust in me, then that's all I fucking have. I will never take money over honesty, ever. I just won't. I've been offered absurd amounts of money for things that if I just had no shame, I could be making so much more money. But I don't want to do that because I don't want to have a mom listen to my recommendation and use the money that she worked so hard for on a product that I'm just shilling out because I feel like I fucking want to make a buck. It'd be really easy for me to do that. It's really hard, and it takes a lot of willpower and to be able to say no to money. Money is a driving factor for a lot of people. What I've come to notice is that money really doesn't make you happy. It doesn't matter how much you have. It's just when is it enough? And so if I don't feel comfortable about it, fuck that, I'm not doing it. Dolly Badlands says, do sponsored products get slipped into a video covertly where it's just mentioned for a brief moment and then not clarified that it's actually sponsored? For me, absolutely not. But I can't speak for other YouTubers. That certainly may be the case. They may just not mention it ever, that it's sponsored, and just do like a little slip into a favorites video, but that is illegal. So they shouldn't be doing it, but I can't say that it doesn't happen. Dean Thomas says, you were sponsored by Hourglass when you made a review of their liquid vanish foundation. Were you allowed to give your honest opinion even if you ended up hating the liquid version? Yes, I wouldn't have even done the video if I hated it, or I would have just given my honest review on it and been like, I'm not a huge fan of this. And then it's up to them whether they want the video to go live or not, but I wouldn't say I like it if I didn't. I'm actually wearing it today. I think it's such a beautiful foundation. Kat says, how much trial before you agree to promote a product? For me, I'd like to try it for a minimum of 2 weeks first. It's a foundation. I'd prefer a month if possible, and I'd like to at least wear it 4 to 5 times before I agree to it. But for me, I like weeks and weeks and weeks in advance. As long in advance as they can give me to try the product is what I like. So Cecilia Farmer says, what's the average money a company offers for sponsored content, IG versus YouTube? And is it easy to negotiate this number? Yeah, I don't do any of that anymore, thank the Lord. But again, it really varies. Some companies will be like, we've got a $900 budget and we need a full dedicated video. And some companies are like, hey, we need you to just mention it for, 90 seconds and reach these talking points and do a demo of the product and we'll give you $12,000. I mean, it literally could vary so much. And yeah, it's just like, I wish I could give you a set number, but it's never a set number. Is it easy to negotiate? Some brands are like, yeah, we can definitely increase that. Some brands are like, abso-fucking-lutely not. And then that's kind of how you go. So it really varies per the company, per their budget, and per what they want you to do. I'm just making numbers up off the top of my head. Like I said, with figures, use Social Blue Book to figure out your own reach. But I mean, there are certain YouTubers that make millions and millions of dollars. There are some that make hundreds of thousands, some that make tens of thousands, and some that hardly make anything. So it's so dependent on, what the brand wants to offer versus what they'll pay versus what you charge and your reach and everything like that. It so varies. Taylor says, on average, in your opinion, how many of the beauty influencers can we actually trust when it comes to sponsored content? That's a really hard question. I feel like that's so individual. Like, use your gut and also test the products out. Go try them out. If somebody recommends something to you, see how it works on them. Look up other reviews. Be a smart consumer first of all. First and foremost, smart consumer. Just because it doesn't work for you either, I'd like you to keep in mind too, that doesn't mean it didn't work for that YouTuber. So like, I used to believe that. I remember I made a video back in the day shitting all over YouTubers. I was like, fuck YouTubers who said that the Anastasia Beverly Hills liquid lipstick in the color Milkshake was good. I used it, hideous. Well, that doesn't mean that they didn't like it, okay? I use products that people absolutely loathe. Some people try L'Oreal Pro Glow and they're like absolutely disgusted by it. Some people try it and they live for it. It doesn't mean that I'm a liar. It just means that you didn't like it or you have different skin than me. So just because somebody else suggested something or, you know, says something is good and then you hated it doesn't mean they lied. It just means that maybe you guys have different preferences. They also could have lied. I don't know. I don't know what people do and don't like. Crystal has a really good question. And she said, what do you think about how beauty YouTubers are treated in regards to sponsorships compared to others on the platform, such as in tech and gaming? Most every video is sponsored and it's no big deal. But in the beauty community, people get ripped apart for too many sponsorships. I don't understand this. I don't understand why, if I do too many sponsorships, I literally get ripped apart. People are like, you're a sellout for money. I'll use for the example, like she said, tech or gaming, like Twitch streaming and things like that. I mean, my husband watches a few Twitch streamers who the entirety of their stream is sponsored. They do a 12-hour stream every single day, and they are sponsored people like, fuck yeah, sponsorships. Shane Dawson, in the beginning of his videos, he's like, you guys, we got a sponsor, and everyone's like, yes, a sponsorship. I've seen like podcasts, they have all these sponsors and people are like, yes, because they're like, you guys, we got a sponsor. And people are like, yes, you got a sponsor. But if I start off my video and you guys, we got a sponsor, they'd be like, you're a fucking sellout, bitch. I can't really get it, because for me, at least, it's like I'm thoroughly testing out these products. I'm making sure that they like, I know every bit of information. I know every little single thing that could ever go wrong with the foundation. I know that everything that I have tried, I've used these products. I know how they work. I know everything about them. I have made them send them to me 4 weeks in advance. I made sure to negotiate the contract to where I'm being completely honest with you. I'm not telling you anything that I don't completely stand behind. And I see other people be like, guys, this game on my phone, I play it every second of every day. I am on level 857. It is the most incredible game I've ever played in my entire life. It is wonderful. All you do is you shoot these slime jellies at things, and the slime jellies connect. You guys, my slime jelly's name is Matthew, and he is so hilarious. I named him because you don't fucking play that game. I don't know where that disconnect is on where like certain people, when they get a sponsor, it's like this super exciting thing for them. And then certain people, when they get a sponsor, it's like, wow, you're a real piece of shit. You know, I just think that's the way the industry works. I don't know. You tell me. How about that? That's the real question of the hour. If you feel different when there's a certain sponsor versus a certain sponsor about something else, you tell me, because I don't know. Celeste says, why do people get upset about sponsorships? I think people get upset about sponsorships, and this is kind of how I feel as a consumer myself as well. I don't get upset about sponsorships, first of all, if they are disclosed. If they're disclosed, fucking do you. And I have purchased things when I see other people do disclose sponsored content. For me, I think people don't like sponsored content, rightfully so, in a lot of ways, because they feel like they're being lied to, and they feel like they're being sold to, and they feel like the person that they trusted, that they love, that they watch, that they feel a connection to is selling out. And that is not always the case. And it's maybe not even sometimes the case. It may be the complete case for a YouTuber that you watch, but I think it's such a subjective thing. Some people, again, they accept every sponsorship that comes their way. Money, no matter what the circumstance, they're going to take it. Some people really are selective about what they choose, and they really research the shit out of what they use before they talk to you guys about it. I think that it's hard to make the differentiation between one or the other. I think some people just feel like there's a lot of ads out there, and they don't like that ads infiltrated their favorite YouTuber. They don't like that now the YouTuber that they used to watch just because they love their videos now is making money. I think that telling people that they're a liar just because their video is sponsored is really hurtful. I really don't like it when people say that to me. It makes me really upset because I know I'm not lying, and I know I'm not being disingenuous with you. And really listen to the words that I'm saying, you know, listen. And if you don't want to buy it, don't buy it. I get why people don't like sponsored content, but I think it needs to just be really clear that as a consumer, you have every right to be like, I don't trust you. And that's your opinion, but I think that a lot of people feel like YouTubers don't really necessarily deserve to be paid for just sitting around and putting makeup on and talking about products, but it has a lot more to do than with that. Than, you know, we built up our followings and built up this community and group of people that trust what we have to say, and brands recognize and acknowledge that. I understand why people don't like sponsored content. I really do. I just, you know, also remember that there is a lot of undisclosed sponsored content out there. It still exists. It's very annoying, and I don't know why people do it, and I don't know why YouTubers feel that that's appropriate, but it's absolutely inappropriate, and it's illegal, and it's immoral. Above anything, it's just like, don't fucking lie to your subscribers. Like, these are the people that got you the position that you have in life right now, so maybe respect them a little bit by telling them that you're being paid for this video. I don't know. That's really all I have to say on this topic. I'm so sorry if I didn't get to answer your question. If you guys have a question that I did not answer, please ask it in the comments down below. I feel like I kind of covered the bases of how things work. This is a long ass video and I'm so sorry for that, but if you're at all interested in how this industry works, trust me, I was too, and I still am. I get it. It's so confusing and it's such a weird world. This is kind of the first of its time, really, where there are a lot of people that, you know, make money on YouTube, you know? Like, what a weird world we live in. What a weird job I have, you know? But I love it so much, and I thank you guys so much for your support and how excited you always are for me when I do get a sponsor, because it's awesome, you know? It's so cool that companies, you know, feel like they can trust me and showing you guys their product. Most of the companies that reach out are really great, and they don't ask bizarre things. They don't ask you for too much. They just want you to feature their product in your video. And if you guys have any other questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I will try to answer them if possible. Please try to keep it respectful. I know that this is kind of a hot button topic, but you know, we're all just doing our best out here, and I hope that, you know, just we can all stay really intelligent and in the know about all of this. The more you know about any of these topics, the better it's going to be for you, because then you'll feel like you're an informed consumer and like, you know what, I don't feel great about this, and then you can use that. So I thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you at my next video. Bye! The answer to your question is no. For me, I don't feel it necessarily to speak. Where is Mochalicious? I need Mochalicious. It's based on that person's... Oh, get out of here, you truck.